Midnight Soul Serum.
Hello, everybody. I am your interview host for tonight. This is J Love, and I am here with Mac Black, and this is Midnight Soul Serum. So, tonight we are going to do a couple of interview questions. You guys, since we are live, you can type some questions in the comment box, but I already have some questions for Mr. Mac Black. So, whenever he is ready, I will start. Or if you have something you want to say first, how you want to do it?
I'm ready to start. I appreciate everybody that has subscribed to the channel. It's year one, so uh, yeah, it's year one. So go ahead. I'm ready.
Do we
We
have
can go.
anybody on the live that can make sure that they can hear us okay?
No,
Not yet?
no, not yet.
Okay, that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the first question. So, can you tell us what inspired your channel?
So, just growing up, uh, being sensitive, have my own paranormal experiences, seeing watching Bigfoot shows growing up. I grew up in Arkansas, the Legend of Bogey Creek. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but I've always been interested about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and things like that. So that my experience with UFOs, I was on AWACS in the Air Force for a time of my life. I saw things before then. I saw things after then, and I just wanted to do a show that talked about things, not just paranormal things, not just things that were Bigfoot, UFO, or alien related, even though I love all of that. You know, if you look at the graphic, we can go into conspiracies about masonry. We can talk about chakras. We can talk about that. One of the things that always gets me banned on TikTok is the graphic on my shirt that shows the sexual positions that's more than one person. And it's like, uh, I talk about subjects that people consider taboo or conspiracy theories. Have a, I'm not here for any religious coercion. You know,
Okay.
your denomination is your denomination. That's for myself. I was raised Church of Christ, and coming upon my spiritual awakening, I moved to spirituality. Uh, and spirituality and religion are not the same. Spirituality doesn't fit in a box like a denomination does. So I think it was February 2023. I had come to Puerto Rico, got together with my wife, got back home, and it was like, she's real avid about sharing each other's goals and dreams. And so, a dream of mine was always to have a podcast or a platform to talk about things like this. And she was like, you should do it. So in February of 2023, I created the graphic that's on the front of my shirt, that's on the cover photo for the page. I created that exactly a year before I ever actually did a single podcast.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, I hope that answers that question.
It does. It does. I think that was a really good answer. You were starting to get into some of my other interview questions. I was gonna be like, wait, hold up, slow up.
That's okay.
But that's
That's
okay.
okay.
That's all right. Um, so I applaud you for that because I know, like you said, some of those things are taboo and people tend to shy away from those things. And I think that it's just because it's frowned upon, I guess you can say, by some people. And so when people do want to talk about those things, they may not have anybody that they can talk to or a place where they can go and get information about it, other than the internet. And so I hope I'm speaking that this channel will help others come to realize what's actually out there and that it's okay to talk about these type of experiences or even if they're curious and they have questions, I really hope and I speak that they explore that. So I do applaud you for that, and I'm excited. I'm excited. You ready for the next one?
Now I'm with it.
Okay. When did you realize that you were sensitive to, I'm gonna say, the paranormal spiritual world? Like, so, when you were able to realize whether it was like you can manifest stuff or Bigfoot stuff and all that. I know you talked about what you used to watch as a child and all that. So can you dive into that a little bit deeper for me?
So my my earliest memory is, you know, probably about second grade. Um, I don't think I've ever even told anybody. Second grade, uh, I was riding from where my grandparents grew up. This is a town called Batesville, Arkansas. We're on the way back to our house because it was over an hour drive for us. And we'd go there, see family, take care of my grandparents, stuff like just general family stuff. And we're riding home. I'm about 7 years old. We're on the highway, and we always drive past this tree. It's this huge tree that has a single tombstone by it. And so at this time, we're riding through. My older siblings are asleep. My dad's driving. Her and my mom are engaged in a whole other conversation. And there's this bolt of lightning that comes behind it. It's outside of the little fence. It's not, directly to the tree or anything like that. But when it flashes, there's a figure standing there
By the tree or the tombstone?
between the tree and the tombstone.
Oh my God.
So if you've seen the movie Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood, you see he buried his wife under a tree with her tombstone.
Oh wow.
And it's about the exact same spacing as in that movie, but you actually see a figure. When that lightning flashed, there was a figure that was standing there as if he was standing over, and you couldn't distinguish if it was male or female. But for my age to see it, what I perceived, it was just a very tall, slim figure, and it had its head down as if it was looking upon the tombstone. And I asked me, "Did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see that?" And of course, the annoying 7-year-old in the back come out, "Did you see that?" It's raining. My dad's driving. He's not getting ready to look for anything. My mom's like, "See what?" I said, "There was a person standing over there." And she said, "No, it wasn't. You're imagining things." So that was like my earliest experience that I can remember.
Hmm.
That would be it.
Well, they say kids are more sensitive to spirits. They can sense them and see them. So yeah, I've had my encounter with some things too. We'll get into in another live or another video. So I definitely understand where you're coming from with that. So when you saw it, how did you feel?
And I wasn't afraid.
Okay.
Um, I just it just seeing it there, like it. I was absolutely sure that it was a person. However, over the next few trips back and forth to Batesville, you would never see anything there.
Mm.
You would never see evidence that anybody had. Like you could
So
tell that
like no
somebody
flowers
came.
or anything
No,
outside
no.
of
So
the
here's the
tombstone?
thing: somebody would come
Hmm.
and take care of the inside of it. The outside of it would be overgrown,
Hmm.
but the inside was always well manicured. But you never saw anybody doing it.
Mm.
No matter time of day that we went through there.
Hmm.
And it was just one of those things where it's just like, you know, you respect people's final resting place. That was just the way I was brought up.
Right, right.
And so, no, you didn't want to go over there and try to see. Not like my dad would have pulled over, my mom wouldn't have pulled over. It's like, excuse me, to this day, I don't know who was buried there.
Okay.
And the last time I made a trip, all of that is gone.
Mm.
You can tell that somebody else maybe owns the land or purchased it. So it's completely fenced off from the highway.
Oh wow. Hopefully they dug the body up.
A lot of the trees have been cleared. I don't know if they dug the body
I said
up.
I'm hoping.
Well, but a lot of the trees have been cleared, and it's like it's kind of like that. What was it? Windows XP, where they show the rolling hills of green. It's like that now. There's just a fence and just a field of green grass.
See, I personally would want to know if whatever land, a piece of land that I've owned had some bodies on it. You know what I mean? Just let me know. I would probably even leave them undisturbed. I might not even buy it. No, that'd be a good show. But you get what I'm saying? Like I would like to know. I would like to know.
I do. I mean, I've in Oklahoma on King Avenue, there's a house that I went to look at that I wanted to purchase. At the time, I was staying in a duplex just down the street, but I went to look at this house. The person came to show me this house, and man, amazing house, amazing layout of the land, the upstairs, the downstairs. They had a separate like garage building. Their only request was that they be allowed to visit the marker that was in the front yard, mind you.
Okay.
Of their loved one that had passed away. They didn't want to move the body. And I have empathy for people like that. I completely understand it, not wanting to remove the body because the attachment to the place. I felt like it was a forced sale that they were going to have to do.
Okay.
And I couldn't do it. I could. Not only that, whoever this loved one was, I don't need anybody upset because they're seeing a new face in the house and unhappy with the new tenants. No.
Okay. So the story that you told us about the experience that you told us about when you were in second grade, would you say that was your first paranormal experience, your first type of experience like that? Or is that just one that you can remember offhand?
I would think that would be the earliest onset.
Okay.
I mean, there were things that I experienced at my grandparents that, thinking back, I don't know if that was a real person or not, but the people that were alive and around back then would be the only people I could ask, After my grandmother she was kind of like a live-in caretaker. She was also family, but her name was Norma Jean. And she had a rare condition. Her tongue was tied, like to the fact of where she couldn't speak. But she loved our family. She loved us kids. And I remember for probably about a month after she passed away, still seeing her. And when I would see her, I wouldn't be afraid. But at that point in time, it's almost like I would think I was dreaming because it was only at night. And so I would think it was a dream. So, really? Yeah. And that would probably be between ages 5 and 6. So.
Okay. Well. I have so many questions, and I know that they're all going to be good. Okay. Let's dive into some juiciness. Let's see. What would you say so far is the most compelling or unexplained experience you've personally had while investigating the topics?
Oh.
If you don't have one yet, it's okay.
I mean,
or like what would you say stands out to you?
So I'll say while investigating, Um, it would be for me. I think the whole astral projection one was that one that I still think about that. You know, I think about what I experienced, what I saw on that episode that I wrote and talked about, and when you have something like that happens so strongly to you in the house you live in, you're just like, yeah, okay. And so I think about that because not that long ago, you I uploaded the noises recorded from the camera in the
Mm-hmm.
bedroom, and some of the people that listened to it online, they chimed in. They were like, "Oh, I hear way more. They hear somebody shuffling cards. They hear people talking. They hear music." And the thing about it is this camera doesn't ever pick up anything
Anything.
unless
Mm-mm.
someone's in the room. We here on the island, they're playing music all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That camera never goes off. Not to mention it's in a back bedroom that's not close to the street. The people behind us, if you hear anything, you hear their dog.
Mm-hmm. But like you said, it doesn't pick up on camera because even our front camera, it doesn't pick up anything like that.
No. So, and that was the thing. So at the time when that went off, being out of town and getting that alert, I immediately went and checked the other camera, like, okay, well, what's going on? There's nothing on the other camera. So it's like at the end of that whole astral projection experience, if you remember, there was someone sitting at the end of the bed that looked sad. They didn't look malicious, they didn't look angry, they didn't look harmful. I just got a sad feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, same person or not, but it did make me think about that. It did make me think about that experience. Not to mention, one of my neighbors is like telling me a few months back, he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, some lady died over there. People say they see her around. It's not your house, is it?" And I'm like, "No." So, but that one stood out of all the experiences I've had. Is it just like the astral projection was very strong? I'll say that.
Do you feel like it changed your beliefs or perspective on the paranormal?
No, it just probably, I would say it strengthened it, if
Okay.
anything.
Okay.
Um, you know, um, I'm going to do better in season 2 and going on talking about my own experiences, because if I start giving them away here, then there's no point in doing the episode.
Right.
But I've had enough experiences to where I have known without a shadow of doubt that when I say we're not alone, I'm not just talking about UFOs. I'm talking about spirits, ancestors, things like that.
That's gonna be good. I mean, you can do some teasers, but
I mean,
that's fine
I
too.
could do teasers. I mean, I could talk about the street light that comes off and on when I make it to and from my destination. I could talk about the time. So the time I heard my name called, that's completely childish. It was a male voice. It was saying my first name, and I I shut my eyes tighter and made sure I didn't open them, because I've heard stories about when you've heard your name called, and if you like open your eyes or look, or if you answer, then it's your time. So, and I do believe that everybody has their own time, but yeah, I wasn't going into that. Still there.
Yeah, it's this is the same little moth that's been following me when I was in the kitchen,
Mm-mm.
and I'll shoot it. See, I'll shoot it away and it'll come back. But that's yeah. I would like to get in on some of those topics to, or ask some more questions about it to be, or just to be a part of the conversation. I don't have to. Oh, it could be more than one episode about it too. We can do like a part one, a part two, and a part three, and interview different people. Okay.
No,
Okay.
you're good, and that's the thing. This season 2 is going to be more lives when I talk about my experiences and everything. So it's that was one of my goals, was to actually come on and do more lives than just the voices with the videos. So
That'd be good too. Okay. Here's the questions. Out of all of the topics you cover, paranormal activity, Bigfoot, aliens, Freemasonry, poly relationships, and the occult, have you found any unexpected connections between them?
I have.
Mm-hmm.
And I want so there's a lot of different theories about Bigfoot and being tied to an interdimensional being, and then you have certain people that tie him to a physical being that's here. Then you have people that tie him to being an extraterrestrial, and it's like I'll say this: I've had my own experiences. I've heard my own stories where I know the people firsthand that I will never poke fun at anyone who believes in Sasquatch or Bigfoot. With that being said, I do always joke when people say that he's an alien. It brings me back to Star Wars. I'm like, so is he like Chewbacca or something? I mean, but if you think about it, I can't remember which movie or where it was when they show you like his whole race of Wookiees. And it's just like, wow.
What was that other movie that they came out with that had like a Bigfoot character? You remember it came out in the 90s?
Harry and the Hendersons?
Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do. There's a guy that I didn't share his stuff on. I didn't share his stuff on my Facebook page only because I'm waiting for him to show more. I'm aware of the family out in Kentucky that had a Sasquatch family visit them for years, to the point to where they would leave treats. They would do waffles, pancakes, syrup, apples, this and that. And I don't know if you've heard about this term gifting, but like the food would be gone and they would get these extraordinary like feathers woven into a basket from a red-tailed hawk, which it's it's against the law to kill that. So who's gonna be out there killing red-tailed hawks? So, but it's like, and then some of the stones that they leave and things like that.
So, like as in return for like blessing them back.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a guy that I can't remember his name, but he even does a gifting rock, and he's been doing it for years. And it's just like, I do think they have a high intelligence, and I think they stay away from us for their own safety. I don't think they're afraid of us, but like all things, when humankind discovers certain things,
they fuck it up.
Yeah, they fuck it up. They want to run tests on it. They want to do this. Well, hey, see if that kills it. Well, for one, that's beyond your scope. And for two, if you kill something, I don't care if it's Bigfoot or alien, and they come to me, I'm sorry, but I've got to let them know who killed who and which way to go. So, yeah. No.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You can answer the questions.
Hey, I love the bander. Okay. It's always good for TV and stuff like that. So it's totally fine with me. Okay. Next question. What's the most compelling or unexpected experience you've personally had? Did I already ask you that? I feel like I already asked you that. I feel like I already asked you that. Okay.
You had
cross that one off. I don't do that. Okay. So Freemasonry is often surrounded by mystery and conspiracy theories. I don't know if I should say from your research or from your affiliation. What do you think is the biggest misconception about it?
Okay. The biggest and widest misconception about Freemasonry is that they worship the devil. I will tell you this. I had a neighbor in Oklahoma. She saw my decals on my car, and she was telling me she was disappointed. She was like, I can't believe you're a Freemason, this and that. They worship the devil.
What?
On and on and on. And I let her finish, and I said, okay. I said, so is your pastor so and so, so and so? And she said, yeah. I said, okay. I said, so when you go to church Sunday, please tell him Brother Grant says hello. That's a government name. He knows. Y'all don't know that. But anyways, she's like, what do you mean? She's like, what are you talking about? And I was like,
Not getting defensive about it.
If I worship the devil, guess what you're doing? Because your pastor is a member of my lodge. And she was upset. She was upset to find out that where she had been worshiping, the pastor was a master mason. Upset to the fact that she changed churches. And it didn't matter because the church she moved to, most of the deacons and elders there, they're either a part of my lodge or another lodge that I know. So,
and
it's just a big conception. It's like people think that you're into this whole conspiracy with the devil, the Illuminati.
That's what I was about to ask you, if you think society has misrepresented Freemasonry in pop culture.
So I won't say they've misrepresented.
You won't?
Well, no, not.
Okay, sorry, because
Let me.
Me, I'm passionate about it.
What I mean by that is it's not the pop culture that actually got these stories and ran with them. You have people that have been either denied membership.
Okay.
You've had people that have done things to been kicked out of Masonry. Because yes, there are rules and codes, and if you break them, your membership and affiliation will be terminated. You have people that have tried to use their status and their level degrees for financial gain, political gain, and it doesn't work like that. There's a couple of books out there where they talk about 32nd and 33rd degree Masons and what they do, this and that, and about the devil, this and that. I'm a 32nd degree Mason, and none of that's true.
He never seen you worship no devil.
But the person, right? But the person who put that out there was denied. See, the thing about the 33rd is it's not like your other Masonic degrees. That has to be conferred upon you. And this individual, it was impatient. They didn't want to wait for it to be conferred upon them. They wanted it right then, just to say, hey, I want to go do it. I want to get it. It didn't work like that.
Well, because so my grandfather was a Mason. My mother was a Heron. My grandmother was an Easter Star and a Heron. And then I've had various friends that are Freemasons as well. And then, of course, I have you. So it's like, for me, I guess I can say with my lineage, it's something that I'm very passionate about. And like when I hear people, I'm gonna say disrespect it because that's what it is. When I hear people disrespect it, it pisses me off. It does. It pisses me off, and it makes me want to educate them because I'm like, how can you be so ignorant to something that you're scared of, but you let that fear control you and hold you that you won't go and investigate for your own. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think that that's the most. It's stupid to me. It's stupid.
So here's the thing. With it being your mother and grandmother,
Hmm.
I completely understand. Now, here I am, um, you know, to be one, ask one. I didn't know any family history,
Okay.
anyone, any of the Masonic history of my family. So, you know, I go through the steps, Blue Lodge, third degree, Master Mason. We go again to Batesville, Arkansas, and I'm there for a funeral, and I'm meeting family members that are 33rd degree Masons, some that are in various steps of their Masonic journey that I had no idea. And so me and my mom sit down and she was like, well, she said, I never told you. She
Mm.
said, but your uncle so and so was a Mason. And it makes me sit back and I'm like, what? I mean, and she's like, he didn't talk about it. We knew he was. We don't know what he did,
Hmm.
but he was a Mason. And so for me, it was kind of like one of my cousins who's a 33rd when I was there for the funeral, like he told me congratulations. Mind you, I'm at a funeral. I don't have any
Okay.
like now I'll wear some of my
Mhm.
regalia and my like, but at the time I didn't have anything. So I'm just there at the funeral. And he comes up and he greets me by way that Masons greet one another through a handshake, and he was like, "Oh, congratulations!" And I'm like, I don't have your number.
Mm.
I haven't called you. I don't think my mom talked to him." I was like, and he's like, "No, I've been following your journey." So yeah, it gets pretty deep.
Yes, it does. Okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate you for that. Mm.
That'll make you lose your spot.
No, you didn't. Because I had like it's like a follow up question to the follow up question, but we kind of had already been into that.
That's okay.
Um.
I appreciate you doing the interview.
Yeah. No problem.
It means a lot.
No problem. I got you. In your discussions about the paranormal and extraterrestrial, oh my God, extraterrestrial encounters, have you came across any stories that made you genuinely rethink what we understood about reality?
Ooh. Um, okay. So as far as I'll answer the paranormal side of it first. Um, it makes me come to a construct in my mind that time, first of all, is a man-made concept. But instead of the timeline that we see, it's like time is linear, like it's all happening at the same time.
Hmm.
Like the current me that's sitting here talking to you, the 5-year-old me throwing dirt clogs at the wasp's nest is still there.
Hmm.
Um, so it's it makes me believe that the reality as we know it is a facade. I think there are things that are beyond our knowledge of acceptance. You have some people who are in tune with this, and there's always going to be people who don't understand it. They persecute it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like we can touch on it real quick. How people, myself included, like I wear Motivite. I wear it every day, and I have other crystals around the house and things. And you have people who jump in and they're saying because you use crystals or do this, that it's witchcraft, it's devil worship, it's this, et cetera, and it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason I don't get into religion, because if you go back and you read the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
Aaron's breastplate that he wore that protected him was made out of jewels that are nothing more than a different type of crystal. So I do believe that the realms that they cross. I do believe that there's interdimensions, there's portals. I do believe that we're supposed to be raising our consciousness to a 5D level and above versus just staying at a 3D level. And I think mankind is struggling with that. I think there's things that the government actually knows that they're trying to stop and prevent that.
Go ahead. You flowing right into one of my other questions. Keep
So,
going.
2024, they had all these meetings about saying this exists, that exists, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I talk about is in 2024, it's actually 2023, and I think maybe before that. I don't know if anybody remembers when they're testing all these bombs and missiles in the ocean and this and that. And they're like, well, what are you trying to kill? What are you doing that for? Oh, it's just a test. It's just a test. Then fast forward to the end of 2024. Oh, yeah, other things live in the ocean that we know about. So were you trying to kill them? I mean, it's not. Were you trying to kill them? That's all I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, yeah, as far as those other ones, you said extraterrestrial about our realms. So like the UFOs and the aliens, you have a couple of different theories that people say. Some people say that these are things that have come before, like they're future versions of ourselves, and
God.
what we look like in the future and what we've had to adapt to. And so, the problem with that, here's the problem with that theory. You can't explain all the species of aliens that we currently have. Yeah, I could dig into the Pleiadians, I could dig into the reptilians, the grays, but so even for people who be like, well, I believe in the Bible. Okay, that's great. Now, if you truly believe that God is all powerful over everything, I'm not going to argue with you on that. But why would you be naive enough to think that he only made this creation?
That's a good question.
And then once you start looking at the God theory and you're thinking about it, how feasible is it for you to know that other species corrupted DNA to create us?
Mm-hmm.
There's a actual God particle that they have found in DNA strands, and you look at that.
That makes you.
And it's like, okay, so to be created from God, and I'm going to quote what it says, in his own image. And when they say, and what they say, how, you know, he was created, that would mean he would have to give something of himself to create you, to breathe life into you. So when they start talking about the God particle, you know, it's like, hey,
not only that, but who was he up there talking to? Because he says our image. So it's like, so you was
it's,
creating with other gods and with other deities
yeah,
to create us. And that's a whole other thing that we can get into another time.
yeah,
But
like on the, like someone on the chat, he chimed in, with all the species on this planet, how could we be naive? I mean,
they just chimed in and said that.
yeah.
Hello.
I mean, are we really gonna be naive about Antarctica?
Right, with the whole
The
ice
one
wall
place,
or
all these people in the world that we go at it with, all of a sudden, all the countries agree on one place
that nobody can go to.
that nobody else can go to.
That in Area 51. But yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, we're not even we're not even gonna go into, well, I mean, we go into Area 51. It does exist. And like, so the comment says we are co-creators.
Yes. See,
And that is part of having
God-like
the
power.
God particle in you, which makes me go into a whole nother thing about manifesting
Manifestations. Yep.
and the life that you have, that you create.
Yep.
There's so much power there in your thoughts and your words and the things that you do on a daily basis. And it's like, sometimes you unlock part of it, and then for a minute you be like, man, I manifested that. What's going on with this over here?
Yes. Yes.
And it's like, it's almost like you get so caught up in your other manifestation that it's like you don't remember how to do the next one. And so it's like, I just don't know if everyone makes that correlation. It's just like my status in life. We talked about this before. There's other steps of it that at certain times I could see it and I knew, and I said, that's going to be my life. And it's like, you know, I have people ask me now, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? And it's just like, you know, it's like you want to tell them, I thought it, so it was. And it's so hard for people to grasp because you're so busy trying to do your manifestation, but you keep saying in the back of your mind what you don't want, or saying that this isn't going to work. And you can't do that with manifestations.
That too. And if I can chime in, I know it's like they have a struggle. What is it? A struggle. Like a struggle mentality, or like they have to suffer in order to be blessed with something. And that I know that that's a part of what we've been taught in religion. It's what we've been taught about slavery. You have to go through something. You have to suffer in order to get the reward. But, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. And it's like, I'm like the comment, like, set it and forget it. And that's exactly it.
Mote it be. Yeah.
That's exactly it. Yep. It's one of those things where when I came here in January 2023, I've made a comment that this is where I was coming to live. And if I recall, your exact words was, hey, don't say that unless you're ready, because you know how you are. Yeah.
So I would, if you don't mind, I would take it back to even further from that. From before we met. So I'm gonna just tell it real quick. So I remember writing what I wanted in a partner specifically. And long story short, I got that. But the other part of the story is that growing up, being a biracial kid or a mixed kid, a mutt, whatever you want to call it, I I always tell my mom, like, man, I want to go to Puerto Rico just to see it, just to be there and just live it and see how it feels. And one of my friends would always ask me that too, like, if you could go no anywhere in the world, no matter how much money, no matter whatever, like if you could just go anywhere in the world, where would you go? And I say it every single time, like I will go home to Puerto Rico. Like that's where I will go. And to be here with my partner that I wrote about and manifested about, you know what I mean? Like, man, it's like you said, it's like another one of those things where it's I'ma speak it. This is what I want, and I'm not taking anything less, Like I know that I'm worthy to have those things. And you just as wonderful and kooky as me. You know what I mean? So like that type of thing when it comes to manifestation, I think we have to realize the power that we have within ourselves as well and not feel guilty about having that power.
I agree with that. I agree with that. So thinking about this, there's a book. The title of it is I Am That. You can get the ebook, you can get the paperback book. When you read this book, um, I would just ask that you read it with an open mind, without anything religious blocking your views. What it does is it's just like it shatters it shatters everything. It shatters everything that you think you know. All your 3D beliefs on what you think you know on this planet is shattered.
Mm,
So yeah, if you
okay.
want to move to the next one, you can.
Yeah. Okay. With polyamory being a more human centered topic, how do you think it fits into the broader conversations about the supernatural and the unknown?
Hmm. Um. So when you have a couple, just whether it's one male, one female, another female, two males, when you have that dynamic, um, their vibrational level, and depending upon the spiritual level that they're at, you can see the power that generates, even on a spiritual level. So when you come into a poly relationship, you're now including three or more, which means it's very important that if you're going to enter that type of relationship, you understand the energies and spiritual level of that person coming in. And I will always say that it has to be agreed upon by,
All
excuse me, all
parties.
parties.
Hmm.
I mean, if you're just wanting to go and grab another person to have another person for sex or whatever, you're not thinking about it, because it was initially set up in other cultures that this was a way for financial growth. There was a family structure.
Hmm.
Your kids
The
were
lineage.
were taken care of, the
Hmm.
lineage. I mean, it's like almost like you have this group of people that have decided to come together in love, however many partners of whom or whatever is set at, and they've all dedicated themselves to financial gains, as well as, you think about it with the children, there's always someone there. um you start you start having to understand that this is something that, like, I appreciate the comment, because it is sacred, well beyond physical contact. A lot of people think of it as in,
Yeah, like it's just a big orgy or something.
yeah, all they see is the sex of it. They want to think it's an orgy, but it's like when you embrace that lifestyle, when you embrace the pure love of it, it's not anything that you have ever known. It your wildest imagination is just like, it's not about just the physical side of it.
Mm-hmm. It's
Um,
deeper.
you look at people that are like Neo. If you didn't know, Neo has multiple wives,
Yeah, he just got his fourth wife.
and as in any relationship, you're gonna have moments of maybe insecurity or jealousy that you have to work through.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at how he's accomplished this, like when he gets done performing, at the end of every show, all of his wives are waiting for him,
Mm-hmm.
and they kiss him, they hug him, they embrace him, they all support him, and like that support system is like, you
It's
know,
important.
it's very important. The support system is important because I'm you say that now. I've been in relationships to where when you mention something like that, their mind automatically goes to the sex portion of it. Oh, absolutely not. Blah 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 blah. And it's like, that's not what it's all about. And so it's I just think it's one of those topics that, you know, okay, let me say this. Everybody says, well, it's not the norm.
To whom?
And but who decided that was the norm?
Right.
Because I'm gonna tell you, some things that I think are normal, the next person won't think it's normal.
Right.
So we have two different norms. My experience isn't their experience. So no.
I think about that all the time too. And I know for Neo's case, it may be a sexual thing. You know, he may need multiple partners. I remember there used to be rumors about him cheating on his wife or baby mama or whomever she was. I'm happy for the man. You know what I mean? I feel like that is the perfect type of relationship for him, you know, whether it's for sex or if it's for him and his kids and his family, like he's doing it, you know what I mean? And I'm happy for him. Some people, like I said, they always feel some type of way because they're not in that type of relationship or they don't understand. And it's like, hey,
Yeah,
chill out.
most definitely.
We still good on time?
Oh, we're great on time. I could do this all day.
Okay.
I am going to take one quick break. So it keeps fluctuating between 2 people, 3 people. So I will be right back.
Take your mic off.
I'm gonna take one.
And again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to type them in the comments and we will get to those. If there's anything that you guys want us to talk about that we haven't talked about or go back and talk about, just let us know in the comment section and we will gladly talk about those things. Again, I am your host, J Love, with the interview questions for Mr. Mac Black. So yeah, he'll be right back. And I will be here looking to see if you guys have any questions or comments. No, I'm okay. Thank you. You about to refill your cup. You take a shot. Yeah, I saw that. some strawberry sauce in it if you need it. Strawberry puree.
So I had to do first.
Excuse me. Is your cup? No, you said my mic was loud. And he wanted to be like.
I get you.
I think I saw a question. Is it green still? You putting it on that one?
No. Hey. Don't do that. Okay. I'm back. So I will say that I have not seen the show since 8. I don't think I've seen that.
Mm-mm.
But I will watch it.
What streaming service? If they don't mind. I mean, I could look it up, but
Netflix.
Okay.
And they said it would be an excellent illustration of what our last talk about.
Okay.
So you remember where you were?
I do.
All right.
Okay. How do you look past? I was gonna say haters, but how do you look past the non? I mean, if you want to go that route too, we can go that route. But how do you look past the non-believers?
I mean, for me, that's it's pretty simple because I have people that they'll look at the graphic of the show. First of all, they'll see the marijuana and the mushrooms, and they're not going any further. Excuse me, but you will have people that haven't had experiences, or if they have, they rationalize that away.
Mm.
Like it's almost like they come up with an excuse, like, oh well, the reason I saw that was because the way the sunlight hit the water crystals in the cloud coming
Like
through.
a scientific type of response, right? Is what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, some of it's scientific, and it's like I said, I've seen plenty of things with my own eyes to know that that's just not what it is. Man, like I said, season 2, I don't care how short it is. There's going to be more experiences that I share, whether it's on live or whether it's on shorts. And I think that's one of the things for me is people have a fear of sharing experiences. They're afraid they're going to be made fun of, ridiculed, it's going to come back on their kids or their job. And it's just like, I've had a couple things that have been shared with me that I was asked to keep off the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't because of that fear. It was just that person that has the same vibrational wavelength as me was like, oh, hey, this was my experience. This is what happened. And they're just sharing with me because they understand that there's somebody else who experiences these things, but they don't want it made public. And I respect that.
Okay. I get that. What is your take on weed, psychedelics, shrooms? What is your take on that?
Okay, so when it comes to, and I'll say this specifically, when it comes to weed and mushrooms, I feel like, yes, there are, I won't say safe and unsafe amounts, even though that's what I want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
But these are things that were on this earth growing before, before we even decided it was illegal. It's almost like the native tribes that use the peyote cactus. You
Mhm.
know, these things were used naturally,
Yep.
and all of a sudden, this is where you start getting into the whole conspiracy theory. With me, is like you have big pharma that understands that microdosing children with various amounts of THC can cause them to have an appetite again, cause them to eat, calms their
Yep.
seizures, and they start putting on weight. Versus big pharma, they have an answer that they want you to do this chemical, put this in your body, this in your body, that's
Mhm.
known
To have side
to
effects.
have side effects that can kill you.
Mhm.
Now, I say this: everybody always wants to say that marijuana is a gateway drug. I disagree.
Same.
For me, depending on indica or sativa, it's going to depend on how hungry I get, how sleepy I get, how creative I get.
Mhm.
But it never makes me say, "Oh man, because I did that, I want to go do that." No, marijuana has never made me want to go try meth. Absolutely not. Um, I will say this: I've had my experience with mushrooms. The most recent time, um, I was out on a piece of land I used to own in Oklahoma. Uh, I had people out there. We were all experiencing different things. It wasn't a forced thing. We had a bonfire. I'm laying on top of the container, and I can actually make out pieces of the genetic code in the stars.
Hmm.
And for me, it was such a peaceful experience. It's like things came through clearer.
Mhm.
It's like my brain waves were opened up, and you know, I'll say this because that's just part of me being me and who I am. I have had experiences with acid.
What was that like?
I'll say this: I put acid and mushrooms in the same basket. If you think you're gonna have a bad trip, you'll have a bad trip.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
I've heard
my
that.
very first time with acid, I was lost in a strobe light. I was at a house party. I was in a strobe light for like 6 hours while the party's going on. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just in the strobe light, just like. But being in the strobe light, in my mind, I was inside of a place that was almost like an all white nightclub. I was talking to people who were no longer with us. I was seeing people there. And so when they brought me to, we go out and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's fucked up. We're gonna get him home." So I stop at the top of the stairs because it's on the second floor, and I'm like, I'm not going down there. And they're like, "What's wrong with you?" This is what I tell you about a bad trip. So somebody had wasted something at the bottom of the stairs, and when your mind is in that state, you see things differently. So when I get back and I look at this stain turns into it looks like Medusa off of the original Clash of Titans. And I just wasn't fucking with that. I wasn't going down the stairs. And they're laughing at me. They're like, "Bro, what do you see?" I'm like, "You don't see her right there? Her face is right there on the ground. I'm not going down." Other than that, all my other experiences were favorable. I apparently I was in a different state, in a different city, and apparently because of whatever part of my mind was unlocked, I spoke perfect Spanish for hours in the hot tub. after drinking a whole bottle of gin. So yeah, I
Not
just
a whole bottle of gin.
yeah. And the thing is I don't remember any of it. There's a few things that took place the next morning. The day after that, I had a mission to which they wanted to call me down. They wanted to call Airman Grant down and embarrass him and ask him how come he never reported that he was fluid, that I spoke Spanish. And I said because I don't. And they're like,
the Spanish?
yeah, you speak of Spanish? Yeah, well, they said, well, you did yesterday. You did the other day for 3 hours straight. I'm like, if you say so. There's other things that happened that let me know that yes, I did, but that's not the point.
I've had an experience like that. Even though I do speak Spanish, that's not the point.
Mhm.
Oh shoot, that's funny.
What are next? What you got?
What do I have?
You don't have any? That was your last question?
You already talked about the whole government thing. I do have another one, but you talked about the whole government
What
thing.
was your government question?
No, you've already answered it.
No, because if you don't know, then you don't know. But you should really check into the whole Stargate situation on why we fight some of the wars we fight. Um, I'll say this: if you look at the whole deal with Iraq and you start following the breadcrumbs for the Stargate and the portals, not to mention there's artifacts that have been stolen from these quote unquote wars that give history and lineage that the government doesn't want out there. I'll say that.
Well, that makes sense if you just think about what they did to the pyramids and why they're taking the mummies from the tombs and all this. First of all, they need to leave that shit the fuck alone. But I mean, they're gonna open up something on themselves. But like, I think that that's one of the reasons why they try to cover up the carvings and pretty much erase certain histories. And I think that that's another reason why they don't talk about Black history, because they know that it's more than what they're telling us.
So to touch on that, you have this timeline of 400 years of slave ships. Yet there's only like one in existence in a museum.
Right.
I mean, let's be honest, because I'm not gonna say white people, I'm not gonna say Black people. America as a country has always taken pride in itself on preserving historical artifacts.
Right.
So a lot of Black people that think they came from here didn't come from here because they were already there,
Mm-hmm.
but they were more what you call Native Americans and Moors.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a whole different page, chapter, book, verse.
You know what that made me think about? I meant to touch on this before we had moved on, but we were talking about. I know we were talking about the Bible. We were talking about Jesus and all of that. Did we get into that? Or maybe that's what I wanted to get into. Oh, you were talking about the aliens and how there has been aliens here before, and I believe that there still are some aliens here among us walking around.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you remember? Never mind. So anyway, that made me think about how people were like there are some text in book and some cave writings that talk about the coming of the alien species and how they taught them certain things and all of that or whatever. Even that's in movies too. Pero it makes me think about Jesus, when they talk about like how Jesus has all these powers and the things that he did and all of that, but how he left and then he rose again from the dead and all that. And I'm just like, so what if that's nothing but an alien? Like it to me, it opens my mind up more to where it's like, well, what if that person was an alien and he left and he's supposed to be coming back and that's supposed to be like part of the Anunnaki, because when he comes back, he's coming back with this whole group of people and these whole, you know what I mean? Like it made me think about that. And another topic that you and I had talked about too, I'm gonna segue into something else, was you know how they say like we are God like creatures, species, whatever you want to say,
Co-creators.
co-creators. It made me think about how people thought that Jesus was like this whole perfect savior and all of that, right? I'm not saying that he is, I'm not saying that he isn't. But it also made me think about he was able to do certain works and so were we. You know, they're like that kind of threw me off, but that's good.
No, yeah, no, no.
So it's like
That's okay because y'all hear this because one of these shows I'm just gonna interview her. I'm gonna
what
ask the
are you
questions.
talking about? I'm sticking to the topic, but I just want to touch back on some things.
I'm gonna interview her.
Why?
Why not? You've had experiences.
I've had great experiences.
You've had things. You know, I've had experiences with you. Oh,
What experience?
I've had experiences with you where you changed up your entire language.
Yeah.
Yeah, like some ancient Hebrew,
I don't know
Egyptian.
about
I
all
don't know.
that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Anyways, I'll let you ask your questions.
Oh my gosh. But no, it made me think about that. And you know, there are parts of Jesus's life that are missing that we will probably never know about. But I've always thought like, you know, I don't think that Jesus got it right. And I think that because he was a spiritual being living a human experience. And so his role was to keep evolving and to keep learning, right? I don't think it was to come and protect and save mankind. And if it was to save mankind, it's to save them from their own disbelief within themselves, to show them that this is possible.
Right. No, I have thoughts about that. I when it comes to speaking on Jesus, God, Yahweh,
I don't know if they can hear that ice maker.
I tend to pull back a little bit so that I'm not drawn into a denominational religious debate or try to put into this box. You know, it's like even if you go back and just take the descriptions of Jesus on what he looked like, it starts a whole thing. So that's why I have a respect for spirituality. I have a respect for religion and denomination. I try not to draw into that. Excuse me. Because I mean, honestly, I'm just like one of those people that you start beating your AME drum, your Baptist drum, Catholic drum, whatever. I'm not here to tell anybody that their denomination is wrong. I choose not to draw into that debate on the show. I just don't. Especially when you start speaking on things of extraterrestrials and Jesus and the Bible and people who went to heaven that never died in chariots. I say it like this. I would love to attract the right people to be here versus the one who want to come here and cause they come here with the negative energy. And when you have people with negative energy like that, when you have people that are awakened and they know things and they read things, they have these notes, they do their research like yourself, like other people, you will have the wrong group push them away because they want to talk about it, but you'll have this other group come on here just because somebody else said that somebody said. So, yeah, there's a whole thing with that. If you look at, like, even for me and my mom, when I talked about how the tombs, I mean, not the tombs, when I talk about how the pyramids were made, when you look at the dimensions of those blocks, you've got to come to one or two conclusions. The pyramids were either not man made, or the race that made the pyramids were giants. Now, if you say giants, you have more mainstream religious people that can accept that because they talk about David and Goliath.
Yeah.
But then when you start presenting evidence in front of them about the existence of giants,
They still get offended.
they get offended. It's like, I don't do anybody's homework for them, but if you ever want to go and start looking up Devil's Tower, look at Devil's Tower. It's nothing but the remains of a giant tree. Do your research and look up where Himalayan salt comes from. Pink Himalayan salt comes from. Look at the soldier stories that talk about what was really going on in Afghanistan. And you will see that there's things not talked about that's covered up. What you got left?
Oh, I started
No, you're okay. I mean, this
don't
is
know if
like the
it's
longest show.
stimming or I
This
don't know
is the
what to call
longest
it.
show ever on the thing, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think it'll do good because people can always come back and
They can always come back.
yeah. So what I have left. What? You thought about something or somebody asked?
No, I was reading a comment about the super soldier program needs to be a topic.
Hold on, let me write
I
that
have
down.
to. Yeah, she's gonna write that down. I'm gonna have to do some things with my VPN and everything. So when I talk about that, they can't just easily find me.
Yeah, I while you were on break, I was telling them they had like any questions or any topics that they want us to cover to let me know.
Oh, and so I did an email address, midnightsoulserum@gmail.com. I did that because sometimes people are comfortable sending things in anonymous.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
whether it's audio, whether it's an email, whether they send a video and they blur out the times, dates, and where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that. Like, things you share with me, I give you full control of what you share. I'm not going to say your name. I've got a couple videos I've shared from, excuse me, a club brother of mine who, when we came in, when, knowing him for the years that I've known him, he's had paranormal experiences that he doesn't talk about, but he used to laugh about the UFO shit. And now once the UFO shit has come to him more than once, he's like, wow,
Hold up.
I'm gonna send you these. The first video, he said his name and where he took the video at, the pictures, and then the last one he sent in, he talked in them. He just wasn't, he's coming to his own about the other shit out there, and he's not, now that he's seeing it, he's like, wait a minute. I'm like, yeah, bro. So it's like, for me, on the Facebook page, I'll say this: I do have friend requests pending, and I just to touch on that real quick. It's like, yo, that page is where I share stuff I come across on maybe TikTok or YouTube, or a few other things, but all my personal stuff, that's not on that page. So if you're on that page and you haven't subscribed to the channel, it's like there's no reason for you to be there because I don't post these episodes on the channel. I just don't. I think she's looking up questions for me.
I'm not looking up questions.
This is my very own Florida water that is locally sourced here in the Caribbean. I just got my first testimonial back on it, and that video and that comments on the page, that's on the channel. I'm very proud of it. A lot went into this. It wasn't just something I did. I was actually led to do this, so it's done. Also, I do have the merchandise with the shirts. I would show you the back. I can show you the back. Can you see the back?
Yep.
You can see the back. Anyways, but the shirts are out. That's just a simple communication, and I put it into the company I have that produces them. It would be cheaper if I mass produce it and just had orders ready, but people don't order like that. So I'm just going to be honest. When somebody sends me the order, I just tell them the price. I don't make any money off of it. All it does for me is exposure.
What would you like? What are your goals for the channel? What would you like to see happen?
So, my goals for the channel, being year one and having 73 subscribers, I'm proud of that. You know, knowing how hard it was to get, and I say hard, but you know, it's hard for people to support you, even when they can support you for free. It's hard to get that many people interested in your podcast and your channel. My goals is going into year two. I hope to more than double that. I expect also my goals for year two is to do more live videos, more shorts. Now that I have some equipment I didn't have before, actually going out to sites and being able to show you things that's within my local area, unless I travel. Then when I travel, then I want to reach out to groups in that area, whether it be a paranormal team, whether it be a Bigfoot team, what have you. My number one goal is more, I won't call you a fan, I'll say subscriber interaction. You know, there's a couple of people I want to interview. There's a couple of people I want to, I want them to talk about what they do. I know a couple of people that are heavily into Reiki and they do sessions. And whether they do a explanatory video of it or
like a Q&A. Okay.
Yeah, like a Q&A. I want them to know that they can do that and it can be posted here. It's not like any judgment. It's just like, because that's part of it, That's like we were out and we were talking about chakras and somebody was like, why is chakras? So yeah, we just the goal for year two is growth. If I had to name drop like certain growth, I'm not gonna lie, it would be Billy Carson, Josh Gates, Terrence Howard, Ghost Brothers, any, when I say any, I mean any BFRO. Like, I don't know, we could talk about my skill sets and what I bring to the team, but I'm willing I'm willing to get with it. It's like, like, okay, I want Wiccans to know that this is a safe place. You want to talk about the pros and cons of a love spell? Hey, people
I
need to
can
know
I
that.
can I can touch on that.
Sweet jars, honey jars, people need
Yeah.
to know about that.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where it's just like I don't have a ceiling for this show.
Okay. I'm with
So
it.
I'm excited to see what it brings. I'm excited for everything that comes along with it. Um, I like I said, I've got an address for Terrence Howard for my t-shirts, pero you already know. It doesn't mean that if I mail it to him, he's gonna get it. You know,
I think you should do it anyway and send like a letter, like a thank you card or something, and explain it.
man, I would definitely send one to him. I'd send one to Billy Carson. I will say this about Billy Carson. Uh, there's points that him and Terrence Howard don't agree on, but they are not negative or disrespectful about the things they disagree on.
Right.
And that means so much to me, is seeing that love, that hey, here we are both trying to get the truth out there, let people know what's going on without trying to take each other down or bring each other down. So like, man, 2025, if I could get a picture of one of them, one of my shirts, or man, even Josh Gates, like Expedition X, man, I'm with it. Expedition Bigfoot, that's another show. Um, I'm gonna tell you, do not put me with Russell. He's he's not gonna appreciate my wanting to be like, hey man, let's just sit down for a minute. Let's just wait. Let's just chill. Let's just wait right here because Russell's go 1,000%. Mariah and Bilko, hey, y'all got it. Bryce, me and you gonna have to get out of the base camp though. Um, Paranormal stuff, like I said, Josh Gates does that on Expedition X. You have Zach Baggins, you have Ghost Brothers, and for me, it doesn't have to be one of those big name people. It's like if I find somebody locally
Hmm.
and they'll have me, and let me do the show while being there with them, I'm with it. Now, there's things here on the island that involve mermaids, UFOs, chupacabras,
Crazy
all kinds of
moons.
government experiments and stuff that's happened here. So I'm with it.
Okay.
So do you have are you good?
That's
Are you
that is all the questions that I have,
okay?
and I'm glad. I think these were some really good questions, and I
Right.
took notes so I can, yeah.
Um I'm not gonna call you out because people can see your comments anyways, but I appreciate you hanging with me tonight. I appreciate your commentary. Definitely like the Super Soldier program and some of the other questions and comments that you made are definitely going into effect. Um, Tano people, do I have any subject matter on that? I do, I do, I do, I do, I do. That's a very great question. I'll make sure she takes note of that because that's very interesting, especially when it was said that they don't exist or they were wiped out, but they weren't.
I was gonna say we here.
So yeah, that's excellent. And do you have anything, J Love?
Um, I don't at the time.
Again, uh, the Facebook page is Midnight Soul is one word, space serum. YouTube, Midnight Soul Serum. Gmail. Midnight Soul Serum is all one word at gmail.com. If you have anything you would like to share, even if it's anonymous, if you want to blur stuff out, hey, that's fine. Even if you have input, if you need our version of Florida water, even though it translates to Florida blood water, there's a reason for that. There's a reddish orange tint. So do not spray this directly on light fabrics. Do not.
No white walls.
Like it's fine as a mist. It's fine as cleansing your altars, meditation, cleansing, protection of your residence, your rooms. The intentions and work that went into creating that are very powerful. If you need the shirts, hit me up. Don't hit me up and ask me for a shirt, and then you're like, hey, there's some guy trying to scan the QR code on the back. I don't make any money off the shirts, just exposure. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. And are you good?
I'm great, babe.
All right. Thank you for tuning in to the season 1 wrap up of Midnight Soul Serum.
Midnight Soul Serum.
Woo. He said.